I think the analogy which I would use is the creation of the first global level playing field in economic terms. A level playing field between countries of size and their level of development, and a level playing field between firms and their size. And this is achieved through the genius of open architecture in the software. And that is the key. In a sense, the HumaWealth program in economic terms is an attempt to make a mega change in the components of world competitiveness and productivity. But it does so in a way which doesn't privilege one company or one sector. Therefore, your second question, where do you look to actually get the force to propel this? Well, the first organisation is clearly the World Trade Organization, because the WTO have done a lot through trade negotiations to actually stimulate world trade, but we all know that we're somewhat stuck at the moment, and therefore we need new approaches. So they're the first element, and we are in a new economic paradigm. That is for sure. So the role of international organisations, like the OECD, like the economic arms of the United Nations, are absolutely critical in saying the nature of the game has changed, and that what the GCEL propositions do is underform a new form of global solidarity, which is a form of global security. And as you very rightly said, does this lead to a more peaceful world? Well, yes, it does, because whilst armies and tanks actually can end wars sometimes, they can't sustain peace. What sustains peace is mutual economic dependence on a fair basis. And that's what we're trying to do here. And that symbolically is why the United Nations plays an important role in logic. What can you do? As companies engage in the process, become a GCEL member, talk to your national administrations about it, have an ASEAN working group to see how you can actually joint venture between yourselves and with others to be in the first round of deployment. But the critical question now, and this is the question I ended on, is, okay, this is not an academic question, this is a business question. Are we willing to take the challenge and try and do something? And that's what's on this, to change the growth trajectory that we would have. And that, I think, is something which requires a degree of courage. And economists can't tell you very much about courage. It's not something we know about.
Beautiful island fortification. And to go there, you're going to maybe take first Vietnam Airlines from here, then you will take, maybe go to Singapore, from Singapore take Singapore Airlines to Rome, and then take from Rome to Napoli and Italy. So what happened here, meanwhile you're crossing multiple vertical systems. That one is Vietnamese, second is Singaporean, third is Italian. So each one speaks a different language. They all agree that the reason of our existence in the business is not to speak the same language. We don't have to. The reason of our existence is to move the passenger, the common denominator between us, the passenger, efficiently cross from shell, or rather from airport to airport. So they all have agreed to provide the minimum data element required so you as a passenger can cross efficiently. Then what is that minimum data? Is the boarding pass. So you need a minimum information, which means gates, your name, departure, time, and so on, so you can be at the gate on time. As you remember that every one of the boarding passes have an opener. They open it and they put inside another piece of the ticket. This is the vertical language, whereby the boarding pass is the horizontal that is required so that you can add pressure across the tube. Now, if we apply the same on logistics industry, we know, for example, there is a lot of organizations around the world, again, as I said, like IATA, have tried to standardize for systems such as Bolero and so on, and did not achieve the maximum result that they were expecting, again, due to the standardization. What we're saying, if we apply the same thing on logistics, so how does it work? The top 28 ocean carriers of the world represent 80% of containers movement around the world. That's mean we have, as an example, 28 bill of lading. each bill of lading have a certain data element in every bill of lading. As example, MERS have 40 data elements. Mediterranean Shipping Company have maybe 36 data elements. Today they're saying, in order to adopt a system, one system global and boost efficiency, either MERS have to go to 36, example, or Mediterranean Shipping Company have to go to 40, which is not the case. Again, why they are in a business? They are in a business to move the common denominator, which is the shipment, across efficiency and security. So if we look to all these data elements in the 28 bill of lading we have in the world, which is a top 28 ocean carriers, and we take from them the common data element, we found out that there are enough data to maximize the efficiency of the shipment, to move across horizontal from shelf to shelf. And once we do that, so there is a need now, there is a reason to integrate and create point-to-world integration, and we also create what we call super data highway. In essence, if there is a carrier have a 40 data element and another carrier have the same 40 data element, they will, through the minimum data element, they all work, but there is also super data highway that can allow those data elements to go to another one to accept the 40 data elements. I'm going to pull back from the technical a little bit and go to the logical system. So due to this nuclear, which is there is no need to standardize, but the universal data element exists and we can use it, we create what we call point-to-world integration. And that means all the vertical system around the world does not have to change. You asked the question about large enterprises, small enterprises. So there is no need, so it works for both. Who have already existing in-house vertical system doesn't have, it's non-intrusive integration, if I may. And by the way, who is integrating them are their own technology companies. As example, just to give you an idea, I don't like you to mention names, but as example, Oracle is GCEL member, Microsoft, Tata Technology, HCL, and others. So they all have agreed that with this minimum data element, they can go back because their customer, the vertical in-house system, they've been saying, we need point-to-world integration to enhance our efficiency, but it did not exist. They all have joined, they all have agreed, those large corporations, says they serve 60% of the world GDP, to go back to their customer to integrate them in this point-to-world integration. Once we do that, what we created now is 3 dimensions of new data that was not available before. Then we apply to it. Now we start creating new features that allow to monitor exactly the supply chain performance and so forth, so on. So in essence, this is a nuclear, there's no need for standardization, minimum standardization is required. Second, creating point-to-world integration. 3, adding additional feature to make really the 21st century trade efficiency. Now, what about SMEs in Asia, in ASEAN that does not have a system? They all, what we did is when we select the 12 technology gateways, the system would be as such. Would be the database, user, and then there would be the application, then there is a user interface. User interface will be 12 of them. So from each side or region of the world will be 3 user interface, and then providing to the whole world, so every shipper around the world, or 3PL or wherever, that does not have a system, they can portal in, use the system through portal in, using one of those 12 technology gateways, again at no cost. I'd like to mention this question, this incident rather. In the World Bank, somebody asked, Captain, many things goes wrong in technology. So how you address it when it goes wrong? As you can see, the question is very vague, because what is many things, so I can answer back. Despite the fact you gave the answer, and I said, do you agree that logistics is fragmented? He said yes. I said, do you agree technology must be the conduit to resolve it? He said yes. I said, I agree with you that technology, many things goes wrong. But what better than having the top 12 brain technology company of the world sitting on the same table and addressing what goes wrong? So the key solution is not the technology itself, but also who's deploying it and the trusted network that you believe in to provide you the portal in or the plug-in in a non-intrusive manner. This is from technology.
Okay. just now about the fact that I interpret that as you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Basically, all the information are there, and just making use of it. So you don't need to standardize any kind of format or whatever. There's no need for an international regime. All the things are there, and you just slot it into whatever pattern that you want. I think that's very good. It's great indeed.
What's happening today is, imagine, speak to each other, but they've been doing business for many years. So I go and give a shipment to the package, the handoff to the other side of the pipeline, and he doesn't speak my language, and I give him signs. And then what we're saying is, you know what, would you be satisfied to speak not 100% what he's saying, but at minimum 60%, 70%, so he can understand, minimum take the shipment from you, and you can share the information. This is, if I want to simplify it, this is what we're talking about. And by the way, in supply chain pipeline, Singapore, again, we know from the efficiency perspective, they are the ranked #1 in the world. But Singapore, what happened is that, and they attempted, in essence, supply chain efficiency is a horizontal process. So in essence, if you want to see if your pipeline efficient, so it's a result of efficiency of everybody involved in the shipment. But not to the shipment. Singapore started outside of Singapore and ended up most of the time outside also again Singapore. So what's happening? So efficiency is measured horizontal. So slow efficiency goes in Singapore, goes high. Go outside of Singapore, goes low again. So, and that results keep the landed import-export cost in Asia and ASEAN high. Because we must bring everybody to the same level so you can gain out of this efficiency. So Singapore attempts. They did many attempts to take their expertise outside to their trade partners. But what they've been blocked by is monopolistic concern, is a geopolitical concern, and standardization issue, and so forth, so on. So addressing these issues, I believe we will see different regions, and as we said, we will have a smart region. And once you have a smart region, as we did in your Mediterranean region, we can connect the strengths of ASEAN together. And when you connect these strengths, you can now go to build yourself from within and then go to the region and to the rest of the world. Again, we did that because we've been invited by HumaWealth to analyze and see what can be done by using this new 21st century efficiency era, and we will be more than happy, as I said in the beginning, to do the same thing here in ASEAN.
So thank you. You would like to add something? So if we don't have any more questions, so I'd like to, on behalf of ASEAN Bank members and our people here,
one question,
No? No, I think Q&A is the process, not just this session. And we can continue the Q&A maybe during the dinner as well. So on behalf of ASEAN members here and all people present here today, would like to express our thanks to Michelle and especially to Captain Salo and Mr. Brook for the very nice presentation, and also video presentation, and also for participation in the Q&A sessions. I think that the process of cooperation of ASEAN Bank and the Asia is will be continued for the interest of the ASEAN as a whole. So we are looking forward to cooperate with you in that kind of process. So before dinner to be served, I'd like to rely on you. Please warm round of applause to our listeners.